Former Deputy Finance Minister Mcebisi Jonas is back in the hot seat at the state capture inquiry. He's been cross-examined by lawyers for Duduzane, Zuma and Fana, Hlongwane. He's accused the duo of planning an alleged meeting with the Gupta family. It's where he says he was then offered a ministerial position. Let's take you live to Parktown now, where ENCA anchor Mcebisi and reporter Aaron Bates have been tracking proceedings in Xoli today. Basically just a day where Duduzane Zuma's legal counsel has focused on picking apart some of the contradictions, real or otherwise, in Jonas's two statements.
Indeed, Tembegile, and the element that was not dealt with, though, in this cross-examination is that of the key issue of the bribe. Duduzane Zuma's lawyers are not questioning that at all, and it is clearly pointed out when the re-examination of Mcebisi Jonas is conducted by his lawyer, Verm Trengove, and he quickly really just takes the room and straight into why this glaring issue of the elephant in the room is not addressed. But as you correctly said, Tembegile, I'm not alone. I am with my colleague Aaron Bates, and we're going to try and dissect that cross-examination that happened there, Aaron. Elephant in the room is not addressed. The bribe. Why are Duduzane's lawyers not going there? We will come back on the element about why Mcebisi Jonas went to this meeting in the first place. But let's deal with number one. Why is it that the lawyers for Duduzane Zuma are not even going anywhere near the bribe element?
I wish I could give you an answer, Xoli. It's a very difficult question to address, not being privy to the thinking of Duduzane Zuma's counsel, Advocate Pitlow, senior counsel, drilling Mcebisi Jonas on a number of other issues, but really not dealing with that crux moment in Jonas's original testimony. His version is that he was in a room at the Saxon World Estate, one of the houses on that property. As he was leaving, he was in a foyer. He says a Gupta brother offered him a bribe of 600,000 rand cash, 600 million rand in a bank account in Dubai, if he agreed to work with the family. He claims that Duduzane Zuma and Fana Hlongwane were in earshot. They would have known what was going on and that they were privy to this proposal.
Then, Aaron, there is a discrepancy. Fana Hlongwane and Duduzane Zuma speak the same language, that there was a meeting. This meeting would have moved from the Hyatt, the Park Hyatt, the hotel, to Saxon World, the Gupta compound. And over and above that, a Gupta brother, Rajesh Gupta, almost peeps and is briefly out of that meeting quickly, so he's not part of the meeting. Whereas the difference then with the Guptas, they're saying that there was no meeting at all, but yet one of them still admits that, yes, there was a meeting. This discrepancy.
Yes, I think in fairness there are cracks as well in two versions of Jonas's evidence. One is in a statement he'd given to the public protector, and then his subsequent submissions to the Zondo Commission. But in terms of what you're saying, you're right. A public statement issued by the Gupta family following Jonas's evidence last August was that there was no meeting whatsoever. However, on the submissions of two Gupta brothers, RJ Gupta and Rajesh Tony Gupta, to the commission, their submissions are that RJ Gupta was at the Sahara Computers premises in Midrand at the time, and Rajesh Tony Gupta, as you say, did a little pop-in, pop-out, while Duduzane Zuma, Fana Hlongwane and Mcebisi Jonas on Hlongwane and Zuma's evidence were discussing alleged blackmail by Hlongwane of Jonas. That, of course, begs the question, why, if this is something that could have been resolved relatively and fairly quickly at the hotel, they would need to move to a second premises to discuss this in more detail.
And this is what Duduzane perhaps has got to explain to the commission when his turn comes of being cross-examined, because it's not making sense as to why he would move a meeting from a hotel which is simply about disagreement between Fana Hlongwane and Mcebisi Jonas. So it's not even a disagreement. Jonas says he's not aware of any blackmail or tension that may have existed between the two of them. So why is this not resolved at the hotel? Let's leave that aside. Aaron Bates, let's talk about why Mcebisi Jonas does not question the purpose of this meeting with Duduzane Zuma when he arrives at that hotel.
Yes, and Lowe actually put that quite directly to Jonas. Why would you go with someone you didn't know very well, this being Duduzane Zuma, in Duduzane Zuma's vehicle as a deputy finance minister, someone who had security, who had transport? Why would you go with this person you did not know that well to an unknown venue to meet unknown people to discuss unknown things? And it all just not really adding up for Lowe, obviously Duduzane Zuma's counsel, on why Jonas would be so naive, effectively, in moving with the president's son to a different venue. Jonas is, of course, saying that if the president's son calls him, he'll take the call, he'll listen to the president's son, but he may not do what the president's son tells him to do.
Question marks all over why he went to that meeting in the first place. Let's finish off this discussion, Aaron Bates, and talk about what happened to Fana Hlongwane's lawyers.
An absolutely brilliant question I again cannot answer for you, Xoli. You've really shown me up today. But the issue being that Advocate Philip Mokoena, senior counsel from the inquiry's legal team, saying they'd issued instruction, they'd confirmed that Jonas would be back today, and they understand that that information was received by Hlongwane's lawyers. So a mystery at this point on why they didn't appear. Zondo raising questions on whether or not that communique actually did in fact reach Hlongwane's lawyers. But for now, we just don't know. I think important to note, you've spoken about Duduzane Zuma coming here for cross-examination. He will first give evidence. So we will hear, and Lowe actually said that on record today, we will hear from Duduzane Zuma. He will come and testify at the commission, and he will present a very different version of that meeting of the 23rd of October 2015 than we've heard from Jonas.
Well, that's where things are at the moment. Thank you very much, my colleague Aaron Bates. And Mcebisi, hopefully that small banter between me and Aaron Bates about this cross-examination today, which really, if you ask me, didn't live up to expectation. We shall leave it here for now up until hopefully the time that the former president's son, Duduzane Zuma, comes to testify before the commission.
Hopefully you will do a better job at remembering dates and times for all of those interactions with Aaron today. Xoli, that's ENCA anchor Xoli Mgambi and Aaron Bates. They're live for us in Parktown, where these